very good evening to you, and thank you for staying tuned with us. You are watching Y254 TV, the #1 youth station in Kenya. My name is Cheryl Blessing, and this is the Power Talk Show. Now, this evening, we have a conversation that is very relevant to these times, and is something that we feel like should be discussed more and more often. We're talking about domestic violence and abuse in relationships. Is it love or is it abuse? And joining me this evening, I have the lovely Audrey Mwelu, who is a marketing executive at Afrohan and an artist. Karibu sana, Audrey.
Thank you.
Thank you. And right next to her, we have Anthony Njenga, who is no guest on this show. This is our counseling psychologist, and he's joining us again this evening.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, and you look lovely.
We're so happy to have you.
You look so lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. So we want to have this conversation and engage with you as well. So go on our social media platforms. We have made a post on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. The handle is at Y254, and we have talked about domestic abuse. We want to hear your stories, we want to hear your comments and your opinions, which we will be sampling later on in the show. You can also reach me on my personal pages, which is at Cheryl Blessing, across all social media platforms. Now, I just want to kick off this conversation by truly defining what domestic violence is and what would find itself in the category of abuse within a situation that is domestic. So, Anthony, as a psychologist, what would you say is domestic violence or domestic abuse?
I want to define that in the most simplest way. Let me not use those technical terms today. Yeah? So basically, domestic violence, when you say domestic, what do you understand by domestic? Most people understand when you say domestic, it's about mostly home, ni mambo na nyumbani. So when it's domestic violence, this is violence or abuse that happens mostly within the home environment. It could be maybe between the husband and the wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, within tu nyumbani. I'd say because you know when you talk about there is domestic violence and there is intimate partner violence. Now, intimate partner violence, as not to specify, this is for couples or people who are married or people who are together in a romantic relationship. So, in the simplest term possible, I'd say domestic violence. Basically, this is a type of abuse that happens mostly within the home environment. Something that is understandable.
Yes. And I like that you've highlighted that very clearly because it's in the home, so it can happen between different family members. It's not just spouses or people who are in a relationship.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So Audrey, I want to know, have you ever experienced any domestic violence or abuse of any kind?
I have. Honestly, I have. Been in a family setting. I come from a divorced family, and I've also grown up to be in a situation where I allowed that because I didn't know any better. But like after a lot of research and reading, I understood what is right and what is not right, and I was empowered enough to come and talk about it.
That's nice. The empowerment especially. You need to be empowered for you to leave the situation and for you to address the matters that you experienced. So Anthony, I want you to give us some instances of what you feel like would lead to domestic violence or domestic abuse. Let's start with something as simple as between parents and children. How would you give an instance of where domestic abuse can come about in a relationship between a parent and a child?
How I can say, or what I can say about that is probably this happens when, more so when you talk about children. I'd like to put it into perspective of the 21st century children. Because you know, there's a whole different conversation you talk about parenting in the 21st century. So you find that most parents don't get to understand how to parent their children in the 21st century. And unapata, it is normally an issue because unapata mzazi anashindwa, mbona mtoto wangu anasumbua, hawaelewani. So now the kids feels like my parents they do not understand me, either my mom or my dad, hawanielewi. Now that's where the issue comes in. So unapata mtoto anaanza kukua kichwa ngumu, mtoto anaanza kukua stubborn. Now this parent is so frustrated with the same, anasema mimi sijawahi lea, hatukulelewa hivi, sijawahi lea mtu anakaa hivi, anakona hizi tabia kama hizi. So with the same anaanza ku project the same physically. Unaona kuna watoto wanachapangwa na wanafeel ni kama wazazi wanachukia. I have such clients, unapata anakuja anakuambia I don't feel like my parents love me. Unapata this is a client who is between maybe the teenager or 20s. Unapata uni client ama uni mtoto mwenye mzazi wake anamchapanga, anamtusi, anafanya all sorts of things. Inafanya feel ni kama hapati that love, care, support, being listened to by the parent. So unapata this parents need to also understand, Cheryl, that it's very important to understand that one thing, you can never, parenting ya wazazi wetu na parenting ya sahi, by the way, is totally different. Parenting ya Gen Z ama parenting ya hii century tuko in, na time yao it is very different. So unapata mzazi anaweza kosa maybe ku understand how to maybe parent this child, na unapata hapo ndio conflict inakujanga. Mtoto anakuwa like mzazi wangu anielewi, so unapata mtoto anakuwa kichwa ngumu, anasumbua, anaanza sasa kuwa intentional with the stubbornness. Na mzazi
and hiyo ni kwa sababu sasa ya misunderstanding.
Yes. So unapata mzazi anakasirika, anamwambia, you know, there are words parents tell their kids that these words maybe as is zinaweza kosa kumaffect at that moment, but unajua at times, let me tell you something, our childhood experiences most of the time they manifest later on as adults. So unapata kuna words mzazi anaweza ambia mtoto, na kuna venye mzazi anaweza fanyia huyu mtoto wake ashinde, kuna hiyo guilt na kuna hiyo feeling ya I feel like my parent doesn't love me. Kio mtoto alikuwa ananichapanga, ananitusi, ananiambia all sorts of things. So unapata hapo when there is misunderstanding between a parent and a child, hapo unapata inakuwa conflict. And ikikuwa conflict, mzazi ana project it through violence. Yes.
So hapo ume highlight vizuri sana. There's the difference in the generations.
Yes.
And also the lack of understanding between the parent and the child.
Yes.
So as a parent you would say lazima ukue understanding to your child.
Yes.
You have to know the generation that they're in and how to deal with them and address issues with them.
That's for sure.
Audrey, you've just mentioned that you come from a separated family and your parents are divorced. So in that situation, did you ever feel like there was abuse based on the experience that your parents had because of maybe they were mad or they were angry at the other partner, so they projected it on you? Did you ever feel instances like that?
Definitely, yeah, because when you come from such a family and then your parents are not getting along, you know, half of you reminds you of the other half of them. So whatever they did, they would think that you people, so like, say to the mom, you're like, you people. You know, in Kenya, there's this tribal thing that is not existent in our generation, but is existent in the older generation, you know. So like maybe Kikuyus and Kambas are not best friends. So like if you're born from a mixed tribe, you know, situation, then, you know, when it doesn't work out, you'd be like, you're with the Kamba home and then you're the Kikuyu. You're in the Kikuyu home, you're the Kamba, you know, and it's like, you people. That is just one thing, you know. And then the other thing is like, you know, your parents remember these things and, you know, some things just come out and it's none of your fault. You're just a child trying to grow up, and then there's so many things society imposes on you that is not fair at all. And I believe a lot of Kenyans are suffering under that. And I think we should mature as a nation and forget about tribalism, because as much as we say we have beaten it, we need to work more towards, you know, just viewing ourselves as human beings, you know, as Kenyans. My mom even says we shouldn't even view ourselves as Kenyans. We are all children of the world. So we should cut off all the divides. You know, tribalism, nationalism, all these things kind of bring
the conflict.
Yeah,
it
exactly. Unnecessary conflict. Yeah.
And you see now, based on that, I can imagine you as a child in a situation where you're hearing the back and forth with the tribalism, as well as the separation that is going on. It truly does affect you. And the way you mentioned, Anthony, the things that happen to us as children, the traumas, manifest themselves in our lives. So do you think that would, because you experienced abuse as a child, will you be more willing to accept abuse as an adult?
For sure.
How does it affect you in a relationship with someone as you
Yeah.
get older?
Let me tell you something that this is a fact. I've met such kind of people. I've met clients who are more so in denial and more so in acceptance that they will rather, their clients or the people who come clean with me, and they'll tell me that, you know, I'd prefer a partner who beats me. I'd prefer a partner who verbally abuses me or emotionally abuses me, because, you know, what is wrong with that? Because I grew up in such kind of family. I saw this happening. There was conflict and all those things. So what it is, this is not a new thing to me when my partner slaps me, when my partner beats me, when my partner abuses me or sexually abuses me or any form of abuse. So unapata ana feel comfortable with the same. So it affects you as an adult that you'd enter in a relationship, get a partner who is a narcissist, and narcissists have all those forms of abuse. They are emotionally abusive, physically, you know, all those things, controlling, all those things, and they would be comfortable because they feel that is the right way. There's the statement. There's someone who, it's a lady, and I asked her this question: will you be comfortable with a partner who beats you and abuses you verbally, does all these things to you, that be toxic on you and everything? And they'll be like, yes, I think. And more so, I'll specify on the physical abuse. Alikuwa like, I feel like a man should be beating, or maybe my husband or my boyfriend should be beating me, at least ndio inikumbushe that I'm in a relationship with a man. Kuna times, and niambia, hiyo ni maneno yake, there are times maybe as a woman or a lady, tunasahau tuko na mtu. So hiyo slap moja itanirudisha into my senses. Pap, okay, I'm in a relationship. They find it comfortable, yes, which is so wrong. No, yes. It is not okay to, maybe you're watching, the people maybe who are watching and there's such kind of relationship. And most of the time, such kind of relationships manifest, unapata mtu anakuwa trauma bonded or emotional bonded, that they are comfortable. And you know one thing about toxicity, it is contagious, ni kama homa. If I'm toxic to you, if I beat you, I slap you, I tell you all sorts of things, I sexually abuse you, verbally abuse you, everything, you develop the same. And now, nikikuchapa, unanichapa. Nikikutusi, unanitusi. Si ushazoea. Now, the end result of that inakuanga moja wenu atachukua kisu na adunge mwingine. And that's it.
And that's a very clear example of
Yes.
something that is bad,
Yes.
but people have accepted because that is what they think is love.
Yes.
That's what they acknowledge
Yes.
as affection.
Yeah.
So now we will come back to, you've mentioned some very important terms. We have narcissistic and we
Yes.
have trauma bonding.
Yes.
So I want us to really define that.
Okay.
But before we get there, Audrey, I want us to find out from you, because of what you experienced, what are some of the things that you were willing to take in a relationship that you did not know was abuse in the moment? Ilikuwa tu something that you've carried from your childhood.
I think one of the things would be like maybe listening to some jokes, and then you know, some jokes are really abusive, but like you just laugh it off. And you know, some things could be really disrespectful, but like you can laugh it off because you probably had, you know, a man, you know, talk like that, and then they laugh amongst men. So you think it's cool to be able to laugh about it instead of, you know, like when you see the older generation, like maybe the woman would feel bad and then she would be sad and then she'd probably disappear into a room, something. But like, you know, since you're the child, you're in the environment with the men, and then you listen to these jokes and then you see other men laughing, so you laugh. And then when you grow, you feel like it's okay to laugh about it, even when another chick, another girl is being made fun of. So you listen to someone being made fun of and you think it's not a big deal, and then you laugh about it. And then, you know, you don't really think that would hurt them, but when you really think about it, you'd be like, a lot of girls are being disrespected, you know, even in the music, even in, if you listen to gengetone, okay, I'm not trying to put any genres. If you listen to a lot of music, there's a lot of disrespectful things against women that people say verbally. This is verbal abuse, you know. So when you allow that to happen, like it's really not okay. You know, me, I'm just here to say that is not okay, because like it's easy to laugh about it and let it slide, but like if you really think about it, some words become life, you know. There's a lot of weight in words. So when you listen to that, or when you listen to people call people, you know, like women are called bitches.
Some derogatory terms.
You know, and then
Yeah.
that is a word given to a female dog. So why would you give it to a human being? Why wouldn't you call, you know, a woman like, you know, all the, you get what I'm saying, right?
I understand you. You are
Yeah.
willing to take verbal abuse as just, it's a joke.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's actually something
Yeah.
that's serious and bad.
Yeah, I grew up listening to hip-hop music. I've always loved hip-hop music, and it never affected me growing up. But like when I turned probably 21, I started listening to all these words. I'm like, you know, that is not necessary. You know, we can do better than that. You know, we are the future. We can create the good vibes. So part of the creating of the good vibes is like avoiding some words. So me, I started making music as sunshine, and trying to remove some words so that, you know, the music can be more wholesome. You don't have to like flinch every time you hear some words, you know. So that's what I'm working towards, my music. But like, you understand what I'm saying?
I understand your point of view.
Yeah.
And the way you've mentioned with the hip hop culture, it has a lot of that, with the degrading women and talking about drugs and some things that look very dangerous. So society has normalized that, but that is abuse. Verbal abuse is still abuse, and we can never deflect from that. So Anthony, I want you to also describe for us, like you've mentioned, narcissists.
Yeah.
Entail everything with the verbal abuse, the manipulation and whatnot.
Yeah.
I want you to clearly define narcissism, because there are people who do not know what this term means, and also trauma bonding,
Okay.
because that happens when someone has been with someone who's abusive for a while. So please define this for us, because we might have someone in the audience who's experiencing this, but they're not aware of it.
Allow me also to define it in the most simplest way that someone who's watching will understand. A narcissist, first thing, a narcissist is a personality. It forms, or it falls under personality disorder. And now personality disorder forms under mental health illnesses. You know, there are mental health illnesses, and they're in the types, there's personality disorders. And there are a lot of personality disorders, but there is narcissist in it. One thing you need to understand, and I need to tell people even before I define a narcissist can never change. That's your toxic personality. You can never change a narcissist. Most people think my husband is toxic, my wife is toxic, my girlfriend, my boyfriend is toxic. Will they change? They are abusive verbally, sexually, physically, emotionally. Will they change? No, they cannot change. What they can do maybe is do therapy, and it can help them manage, because this is a personality, but now it is in form of a disorder. And there are people who have that. And there are people who get that genetically. Narcissistic personality disorder. There's maybe their parents, your parent, or one of your parents has the same. Or maybe the grandparents, it passes down to you. Haukutaka kukua hivo. That's why there are people who would beat their wives, do all sorts of things, and they would really cry, cut themselves. They're like, this is not me. This is not who I am. I should not have done this. You know, and they could be saying that genuinely, but also they could be saying that to manipulate you. There is a stage in domestic violence, a NATO honeymoon stage. That is where someone will come, apologize, love bomb you with all sorts of gifts, gift you the latest iPhone, take you to Naivasha on 22nd or 24th June, do all sorts of things, you know, just to show that I am sorry and I love you and I'll be there for you. But one thing, to define a narcissist, this is a very toxic trait, number one. This is a toxic trait, and this type of people are manipulative. This type of people are abusive, all sorts of abuse. They don't care. They are selfish. What matters is them, not you. What matters is their own satisfaction, not you. Your ideas don't matter. Whatever you tell me, it doesn't matter. Bora tu ni mimi nina feel vizuri from what I tell you or I do to you, then that's it. I don't care how you feel. I don't care whether you feel bad. I don't care whether you commit suicide. Narcissist. You saw the video of this guy who watched the wife take poison. That is a narcissist. You can never watch. It doesn't matter how toxic the relationship is. I cannot sit down, watch you. It doesn't matter whether, because I followed up the story, probably this type of woman has been threatening to commit suicide. The story, that's what they say. Amekuwa threatened before. I won't mention the names, people will understand. Amekuwa threatened ata commit suicide, and it's not the first time ali take poison. Ama yo ya kujiua. So even it doesn't matter how many times I have threatened to commit suicide, but I cannot watch you take poison. I can't. That's a narcissist. And one thing, Cheryl, I'll tell you for a fact. You guys are on social media, even the ones who are watching. Any relationship that has dramas, abuse on public, that's either one of these people is a narcissist or both of them are narcissist. There's one thing people need to understand. A narcissist and a narcissist, these people are very strong in manipulation. And most of the time, these people click. Ukiona any relationship wanarushiananga matusi on social media, this, one of them or both of them are narcissist, manipulative. So mimi nikiona tu drama najuanga hapa. Either wote, na there is a, I won't mention the name, but there are celebrities kutoka kitambo wameishi tu. One thing about a narcissist, and that is to say, they love public attention. And that's why a narcissist would slap you in public and won't care. They would do something toxic. They don't care, by the way. Narcissists don't care. You think a narcissist care?
Because it's just their personality.
That is them.
And the way you've said, it's very selfish.
Yeah.
It's about them. They don't
it's about
care
you.
about
And
you.
they cannot change. Maybe there's someone who's watching Cheryl and is in that kind of relationship or marriage, 10 years, 5 years, thinking this will work. This partner of yours has been verbally abusing you, physically abusing you. You have scars all over. You cannot live because the society says, oh, when you're married, you know, there's this statement or this phrase that says people don't get married to get divorced. But you cannot withstand being in a relationship which is toxic and say, I won't leave because I love my partner. Most of the time, if kids are involved, you won't leave. For the ladies, a man, it's very easy to leave, by the way. Very, very easy. You know, men and women, there is like a difference when it comes even to ego, when it comes to having a soft heart. That's why a woman would give a second chance to a man who was cheated. But a man, and there's a video I was seeing today, a very, very interesting conversation that you should have about men. Very toxic trait. Men, when men have sex, they just have sex because it is their physical, wanataka to have sex too. But when a woman does, they're invested. And that's where a man would easily ruka mtoto, but a woman would invest. So when you talk about a narcissist, these are people who are too controlling, so toxic. Now, trauma bonding comes in this way. Let me give a good scenario or example. I'm in a relationship with you. Disclaimer. Cheryl is a good friend of mine. I had to. Anyway, now, let's say I'm in a relationship with you. And let's say the first, and one thing, there's a lot in a narcissist.
Wow. Let's actually hold that thought.
Wow.
Because this is a very, very serious conversation.
Yes.
And we are starting to get into the deeper issues.
Yes.
We are understanding it's mental.
Yes.
And I want us to go on a very short break
before
we come back and continue with this conversation.
Okay.
Because if you're watching, I hope umesikiza, a narcissist will never change, and you have to be aware of who your partner is. So stay tuned with us. Go on our social media platforms. We are still looking out for your comments, your opinions, and some of the questions you have, which we will sample right after the break. So stay tuned. This is Y254 TV.
Y254. Imagine.
Thank you for sticking with us. You are watching the Power Talk Show, and my name is Cheryl Blessing. Right before we went on a break, we were talking about a conversation that is very relevant to today's society, domestic abuse and violence. We were just trying to figure out how some of these things come about, from the parents to the children and to relationships. So joining me is Audrey Mwelu and Anthony Njenga, and they're giving me some very interesting insights on how some of these things come about.
Yeah.
Right before, Anthony, ulikuwa unatuambia about narcissists.
Yeah.
You've mentioned it's a personality trait.
Yes.
It cannot be changed. It's something that can be genetic and passed on from one person to the other.
Yeah.
And you were just talking about trauma bonding.
Yes.
So I want us to get right into that before we go and give in more examples of how abuse has happened or how we can deal with it in case it happens. So clarify, what is trauma bonding for us?
First of all, trauma bonding is a very I don't even know how to define it because this is so extreme, and this kind of people are so dependent on the toxicity. The way I was given an example, if you're in a relationship with you, and then I've been doing all sorts of things, bad things to you, you know, and trauma bonding comes in whereby now you find that maybe you cannot live the way I was saying, you cannot live maybe because of societal pressure. Maybe when you go home, dowry imelipwa, you don't want your parents to chase you out of the house, you don't want people to view you as a, you know, ile kitu mbaya unaharibu, mbona unaharibu marriage yako. Also if it's for a lady, because we say that women are the ones, or wives are the ones who build a home. Now as a wife, kama ume experience all this and you leave, itakuwa picha mbaya. And unapata most of the times, you get into that relationship, unakaa. Doesn't matter what I do to you, you will be there. And one thing about toxic people, unapata, or manipulators or narcissists, trust you me, Cheryl, if I was a toxic person, if I'm a narcissist, there's something really I'd tell you and it will make you not go anywhere. Let's say if we have kids. I have one kid with you. There's one word toxic people, manipulators or narcissists use. Kona mtoto nikwambie hivi. Sasa Cheryl, you want to leave me? Who will marry you? Who will take you with that kid? Now you'll think about it. You'll be like, na yenyewe. And that's where the mistake comes in. Because you think you have 2 children, 3 children with your partner. You cannot live because no one will take you with those kind of children. But you need to remember, it doesn't matter whether they take you or not. Because one thing, you are risking your mental health going down or declining. And you're also risking the child or the children's mental health, or children having issues or having childhood trauma. So these kind of people, they make you get fixed into that relation. Atafanya everything. Trust me, there are stages of domestic violence. Na nimesema about their honeymoon phase. Nimekukosea, nimekufanya kila kitu. I'll try do everything. Kama nimejua love language yako kwanza ni gifts. Kama nimejua love language yako ni mambo na quality time and all those things. I'll make sure, kama nimefanya kitu mbaya, I'll make sure I come to you all sorts of things. And most of the time, we see them on social media, but I can easily tell and tell you, Maze, huyu ni narcissist. I can tell. Because 1 minute, this person is complaining about it. And most of the time, women are affected. You know, women have a soft heart. I'm not saying men are not affected because they are narcissists. Why so a narcissist?
Yeah.
They are, trust me, there are women who have that personality. But it is not that common compared to men. It's just that narcissists cannot tell you they are narcissists, but they have a very sweet tongue. If there is one trait of a narcissist that you will never know, they have a sweet tongue. They will do anything for you kuingia box. But the moment ushaingia, trust me, kutoka hapo, it won't be easy. Now you find that I am toxic to you. I am doing all sorts of things to you. I am beating you left, right and center. Abusing you verbally, emotionally. But unaambia na marafiki zako, unaenda hadi unaambia your friend here, you know what, Mimi, my boyfriend, my husband has done this to me. He's telling you, talker, you know, this man has been doing it. You're like, no, I love this man. You know, you're blinded by love. Most people are blinded by the way. There are people who have a very big black fold ya macho wamefungwa, hawaoni, wako hapa tu wanatembea. So anaona ini red sign, like red flag, lakini yako hapana, I can't live, maybe it will be better. No. Narcissists never change because that is them. And you can never change someone. At you, I think you need to change. You cannot. You will tell me, fine. I'll be like, okay, najua nimekosea, sawa. They will play nice. Maybe there is something they want from you. And one thing about a narcissist is that they want to, wako na intention ya kukuvunja. Wakisha ku break once, they will try kukuvunja. Na wewe kama dem, maybe you have a soft heart. Ushakubali hiyo. Uwezi toka and all those things. Now, unapata inakuwa mbaya that you are dependent on that. You start even blaming yourself because one characteristical trait of a narcissist, unapata uni mtu, they are gaslighters. Unapata maybe nimekosea, lakini wewe ndio feel guilty about it. I am wrong. Yes, I am so wrong. And one thing, narcissist, let me tell you, maybe these people don't know this. Narcissists know they are narcissists. They know. They know they are manipulators. They absolutely know. But they are so, ikifika ni mambo na manipulation. I think narcissists are so, ushaiambia mtu, don't play mind games with me. I think narcissists have an inborn psychology because they know where to hit. And they know when I hit this place, trust me, will break 100%, and you won't leave. And you'll need a hug for a lady. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Amekuchapa, amekufanya. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. There's someone maybe who's watching and is relating.
And you know, by the way, that's actually funny.
Yeah.
With the situation you're giving,
Yeah.
even outside of marriage,
Yes.
you find that you're with someone
Yes.
and they do all these wrong things to you, and they're like, babe, nakupenda. You know, it's just you. And it's funny that you even mentioned the ukienda nani atakuchukua. People experience that.
Yes.
Women experience men who tell them, now if you leave me, who will take you? And they may use your insecurities
Yes.
or some of the things that you feel bad about
Yes.
to manipulate you into staying. And then you've also said gaslighting. Gaslighting is where someone makes you take the blame or makes you feel like you're the one who's at fault
Yes.
when it's really them. So that also shows there's lack of accountability.
Exactly.
Mtu hayuko willing kubadilika.
Yes.
Now, Audrey, as a woman, do you think you've experienced a relationship where someone was abusive to you and you tried to leave, but then they did all this manipulation and played mind games to get you to stay? Have you experienced that?
Definitely. In campus, girls beware. In campus, I was in a relationship, and you know, this guy would get drunk. We'd get drunk, and then maybe he would say some things, and then in the heat of the moment, he says all these things. You know, trying to praise himself, like, "Oh, I bought you this," or like he gets you a gift, and then later he's like, "I bought you this," you know, or like he says, you know, some things, and then in the morning they apologize. They're like, "I'm really sorry, I didn't mean that, you know, like, you know, you're my everything, I can't, you know, be with anybody else." But like much later, you know, they'd probably like do the same thing, or like when maybe they're trying to impress their boys, they try and like show that the, you know, the big person, so they say all these things that put you down, and then when it's the two of you, they apologize to you, they act nice, they're like, you know, they even get saved, they can even go to church.
True, that's true.
Oh my God.
That's very true.
And
You'd
then
even
you-
start
you
a case
end
in the
up-
house. Yeah?
You know, you can even
Yeah.
fast together.
Yeah, you can start. You know, it is very nini. Unapata, you'll even do the morning devotions, not morning glory. Morning devotions.
You know, and you know,
What?
this on and
Mad.
off thing, you think it's normal, but at the end of the day, this person is just like clowning you.
Yeah.
Like you think, oh, they're just going through the ups and downs of life, but when you look at it, like in the long run,
It's really just abuse.
yeah, and you don't deserve that, you know.
And
like,
how long did it take you for you to be able to leave that situation?
I think it took me like oh my God, you know, I've been dating the same person from my first year to my last year in university. I won't mention which school I was, I won't mention whoever knows me knows them. But like, you know, it took me like the 4 years of my campus life, you know, going through that, you know, like being a fresher, you're like, you know, this guy is like older, so like, you know, you're just like, you know, being forgiving, being a nice person, you know, giving someone a chance.
All
you
in the
know.
name of love. Eh?
Yeah, in the name of love, you know, this person can, you hope they can change, you hope you can make them better. You know, you believe you can make them better, you think that they never had an opportunity to be good, or maybe, you know, like
Yeah.
you're the one giving the forgiveness, and when you've given the forgiveness, you know, like they won't dare do it again, but like it happens again and again and again, and it's like, it's not your fault, it's not even maybe it's
never
their
your
fault.
No, it's never your fault.
Yeah, it's never your
because
fault. Yes.
You truly, genuinely love someone.
Yes.
And when you're in love as a woman, I can testify, some men also go through the same, where you try to justify
Yes.
someone's actions. You say, no, maybe they were angry because at work it was just hectic, or maybe they had a bad day.
Yeah.
We try to justify the wrong things that people do. But Anthony, do you think people who are narcissistic or people who are manipulative, they target people who are either younger or less receptive to whatever they're doing? Do you think they target people like that?
Narcissists, they don't have a target. They will just go for you. If it is you they have chosen, and they're very smart. And there's one thing before we continue. There's one thing she has said. Maybe you are the one, venye amesema, maybe anafeel kama wewe ndio uko na shida, like anafeel kama yeye ndio ako na shida. You see now the mentality, they make you feel like you are the problem. So even moving forward in other relationships, when they don't work, since the first guy was a narcissist and they made you feel like wewe ndio issue, sasa unakuwa ni kama every single time you feel like wewe ndio unakuanga the problem. You are the problem towards everything. So maybe the reason as why the relationship don't work is you. I've had such kind of a relationship, by the way, with a partner. And all the time it was said, wewe kila saa. But when you tell them, when I tell them about now tabia yake, like, do you know you also do this? I'm like, no, don't stop shifting the conversation. You know, and alafu tena, ladies can be manipulative too, talking about that. They can.
People
facts.
need to stop being manipulative.
They
I feel
can.
like if there's one takeaway we should have from this, we should just be genuine and stop the manipulation.
But in the world we live in, do you believe that they are genuine people? Let me ask you that question. Do you believe so?
I do believe that people who are
But
genuine.
very few, right?
Yes.
Very
and I
few.
also understand that the way you said, sometimes it's genetic,
Yes.
sometimes it's very mental, and sometimes it's because of the experiences people have had
Yes.
that get them to a point where they feel like, what's the point of me being genuine anymore?
Yes.
So a lot of things contribute towards getting to the manipulative
Yes,
part,
yes.
and to people being very selfish
Yes.
with the situations they're in.
Yes. Now, let me tell you something, Cheryl. When you talk about a narcissist, one thing you need to understand first of all is that these people are so clever. They are so clever. And they not only play mind games with you, they even play mind games with their family. It's not only you, anyone. They can manipulate anybody to doing whatever they want, literally. These are the kind of people, and we have narcissistic parents, mind you, yeah. They are
So it's just a cycle.
It's
that
a cycle.
goes on.
And you know, just imagine you have a narcissistic parent, and then maybe it may pass down to you. Just imagine that home. Mom is a narcissist, you are a narcissist.
Where?
Yeah?
It's a problem.
It's a problem. Na hapo ndio issue inakujanga. You have had kids who kill their parents?
Yeah.
Yes.
So things like that can come about
about.
because of issues that are
Yes.
underlying that may be mental.
Exactly. And also, a narcissist it's not only genetic, but this is something also you can develop maybe from. Let me give you a scenario. I've dated you. Maybe you're my first lover. You cheated on me. You did all these things to me, and I was this nice person. You know, the people with a very soft heart, nice heart, very forgiving, very nice. You know, and I left, or maybe we broke up. Got another person. Since I have a soft heart, did the same. Inafikanga mahali unasemanga hapana. Let me now revenge. Na unaanza kukua vengeful. Now sasa wewe ndio unafanya that cycle. Unaanza sasa kukua that what you had been done for. Not because you want, but because someone did this to you. It happens. There are people who actually are not manipulative because they want. Because they are vengeful. They're just doing it as a revenge. Because someone did this to me. Let me revenge, let me be toxic, let me abuse this person, let me beat them so thoroughly that they will know that, you know, and let me verbally abuse them. And talking about verbal abuse, we're talking about domestic violence. There's one thing I need to say. I don't support domestic violence. I really don't. I don't support a man beating a woman. I don't support a woman beating a man. But there's one thing we don't look at in domestic violence. We don't look at where it starts. Before now, the man beats the woman, because that's a common one for men beating the wife, or a man beating a girlfriend, or a woman. We don't look at where it starts. Most of the time, as men in marriages, maybe kama ni mwanamume ashachapa wife, it starts from verbal abuse. Maybe this wife kept on undermining this person. Let me give a scenario, a good example. I have married you, and we're in a good relationship. and maybe my work is not that okay. Maybe you are doing much a bit better, not sana. Then there's a time nimekuja maybe bila chakula. Ama sana. Kuna time nimekuja maybe bila food, pesa ya chakula ama sijatuma pesa ya chakula or anything, or maybe kama nguo ya mtoto ama kukuletea kitu na umezoea. Normally I've been doing that. Then there's this statement maybe the wife says, or this you tell me, that wewe sasa, wewe ni mwanaume wa aina gani? Sasa wewe, wanaume wengi huko nje wana hustle, wanatafuta, wewe hatawezi kuja hata na unga, hatawezi kuja na hata si unga, hatawezi kuja na kiberiti ya shilingi 5. Now, for the man, let me tell you something for a fact. It will make a man, then you tell me this the first day. Then another time it happens, uniambia sasa wewe, maybe bed games huko. Sasa hata wewe sasa kitu kadogo hata uwezi ni satisfy you. What kind of man are you? This is verbal abuse. That is also emotional abuse for the man. Now since I don't want to, I'm a man, I'm cool, mimi sina mambo mob. I'm not toxic, I'm not abusive, I'm just cool. Umeniambia these words continuously. Have issues, tumekosana, kaniambia look at you. Mimi hata na saa zingine na feel ni kama naweza enda kwa neighbor wetu tu kuote kwa sababu wewe kwa na maneno mingi. You have told this man that way. Mara ya kwanza, ya pili, ya tatu, ya nne, ya tano. Do you think this man will vumilia?
No. It's definitely builds up.
Exactly. Now we also need to look at domestic violence from where it escalates. Before we talk about a man beating a woman, let's talk about this woman giving this man peace. Because there's one thing a man will never do. And we don't like, men don't like beating, unless ni narcissist. Hatupendi, we don't like. Isi kitu poa. But from that example I've given you, tell me how this man will feel. Alafu anaenda anaambia
from the get-go there was abuse.
There was abuse, exactly.
Because even if it's verbal, bado ni abuse. When you undermine someone, when you compare them to someone, you're abusing them. And for them to get to the point where they become violent, there was so many issues in the relationship.
And that's why we don't look at as a country and as the world. We look at domestic violence from the onset, and we find that saini kinitapa in the police station. Afande, bibi yangu amenichapa. Wewe bana unaenda nyumbani bana, acha hii maneno. Mimi pap police station you. Husband yangu ako wapi mbio? Nichukuliwe ndani koti nifungwe ama bond. You see?
It's a problem also as a society.
Exactly.
Because men can't talk about their issues.
Yes.
The older generation has a problem with therapy and addressing most of these mental health issues. And then when it stays within the family, or it keeps brewing, up until you hear mtu amerusha from the balcony. You know, it gets to levels like that because it has escalated slowly from a point where it could have been handled to the point where it's over the breaking point. Now, how would you advise, like Audrey, how would you advise someone, a lady who's going through a relationship that is very toxic, how would you advise her to leave before it gets to a point where it's fatal?
I believe that's why I was saying you should be able to see the signs from when they're like small things, when it's like, it's not even like, when it's verbal, I've not even reached when it gets to physical, because it starts from the verbal, it starts from the conversation. If you're in love, it should be love. And you know what love is. Love makes you feel good. Love grows you. Love makes you better. You want to be a better person for the next person and the whole society. But like, you know, when you start feeling pain instead of love, I think that's the point to run. Because this kind of, I mean, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, you know, it hits you different. So you stop feeling the good feeling, you start feeling a kind of pain, like a stab in the heart, you know. Like if someone says, you know, you have a small... you know, whoever has a bigger whatever than you, or like, you know, that kind of thing. And then you know, this is the person you love who has said that. You know, you can just like stand back and be like, oh, maybe that's what he wants. So it's not about me not having a big whatever, you know, he wants that. So I can give him the peace to find that what he wants, instead of me forcing myself to be in a relationship, to be there, and you know very well like this is what this other person wants, and you know, instead of changing yourself or like going the whole 9 yards and like going through the pain, you can just like, when you start feeling the pain, you just like find your happiness. Look into the world and find what makes you feel good instead of feeling the pain.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Live when it's still early. Because most people keep thinking, I can change him, I can do this, I can do that. But we have had, you cannot change some people. If it's just their character, you can never make someone change and become better. Now, Anthony, what would you advise someone who has these issues?
Okay.
Someone who has maybe anger issues,
Yeah.
narcissism, how would they deal with that so that they can be able to be in a healthy relationship?
First of all, if you know you have done a good background check on yourself, self-awareness, very important. There's like a thread kidogo nimepost on my social media on Instagram. People can check about the importance to know yourself. You don't have to wait for someone or for me to tell you your vice or your bad trait for you to work on it or to think about it. So if you've noticed and you know and you've done a good background check on you for the longest time possible, and you know this is your trait, this is your vice, please talk to a therapist. The only person who can help you is a therapist, not a friend, not anyone, but a therapist can help you be able to deal with this. Maybe not deal with it, but how to manage it. It's like a perfectionist. You cannot deal with the perfectionism, but you can manage perfectionism. Or people who are too obsessed with cleanliness. You cannot, this is for, you are happy with the same. So you cannot deal with that because that is what makes you happy. But you can manage it for other people who are around you not feel uncomfortable. So maybe if you know you have anger issues, you know your trait is manipulative, you know that you are a narcissist, you can be able to talk to a therapist. I'll be leaving my number before we finish. Maybe if you don't know a therapist, so that they can be able to help you. And also, one thing before we get to the feedback, I'd like to tell people this. If you love someone, please love them genuinely. And if you don't, please tell them what you want. If you want sex, tell them. I'm one advocate of saying, going direct to the point. And I've been saying this even on this show. If I want you for this, tell that person. If I want you for sex, tell mazemi ni kubad, so tufanye ile maneno. You never know, maybe upia alikuwa into it, na tunamaliza hiyo maneno. And if I want you for who you are,
really good.
if I want you for who you are, please be genuine enough to tell this person. And there is one thing, talking about what she just said, how to live. You need to understand there are 3 things you need, Cheryl. Every single person needs 3 things. You need to be able to be happy. You need your happiness. You need your peace of mind. You need your mental stability. And if a person, a partner, a friend does not give you the 3 things, then it's time to say, you know what, enough is enough. And you need to identify these signs as early as possible while you guys are friends. Don't wait until amesema, yes, you can be your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or I can be your wife or husband. From the onset, ukiona communication haiko from the word go, na unasema, okay, maybe ni juu, hatujajuana sana, maybe ata improve. No, you can never change someone. What you can do is just tell them where they can correct themselves. So please do not stay in toxicity. If you notice that and you maybe stay because you feel like you love them too much, don't be fooled by love. It's better you be single than ukuwe na mtu mwenye anakuchezea akili na mtu anakutusi, anakuchapa, anakufanyia all these forms of manipulation. Yeah.
That's true. I like that's very important advice that you've given, because you need to be very self-aware, and you need to be willing to walk away from a situation that is not serving you.
Yes.
So now I want us to go to our Facebook page where we've gotten some comments. Thank you for sharing some of your opinions with us. We have DJ King Spice who says, some parents make their children feel unloved when they force them to do certain courses. When the child wants to do a certain course, why? I think parents should give children the right to choose what they feel they're capable of doing. What can you say about that? It's affecting many young people out there. Thank you, DJ King Spice, for this. I've noticed he's a very common name. Naku appreciate.
Top fan, eh?
Yes. And this is actually a very, very serious conversation, because parents sometimes do not want to understand that my child has an interest in arts as opposed to something more technical. And there's a need for parents to be aware. So how would you say, Audrey, have you experienced anything where you as an artist, where your parents did not encourage you or support you in what you were doing?
I would say, yeah, some parents really don't think music or like our art forms, you know, we are from a whole different generation, and they think that maybe white collar jobs are the way to go. That's the only way to earn money. But like right now, we're living in a world where there's so many things. Even the people who have white collar jobs need to relax at the end of the day. They need us to do the entertainment for them, so that at the end of the week, you know, they have something to unwind, so that when Monday comes, they have, you know, more energy to go back to work and, you know, get the work done, you know, with fresh energy. So I feel like all these professions, all these careers are equal. There's no way parents should think that white collar jobs or blue collar jobs are the only ways to go, because the world requires balance.
Yes, for sure.
You know, and if a child wants to do something and that's what they're talented in, that's what they spend their time doing, you can't force them to do something else, because it's automatic. It's not even their fault. If they like listening to music, if they like, say, for example, DJing, you can't stop them. So even if you stop them, even if you make them get a white collar job, they will still do what they need to do, you know, to satisfy their cravings. So I feel like parents should just like let it go, let God.
Waache
Let's
watoto
go and
watafute,
let God.
waache watoto watafute nyota yao. Because nyota ni muhimu.
That's true. So I want us to wrap up this show, and maybe you can give us a parting shot, as well as I want you to tie it with you addressing the children who have parents who don't support them. Because most of our audience is the youth. So as someone who feels like they do not have their parents' support, how can they deal with that? And just maybe give us a brief parting shot, because our time is running out.
Okay, no problem. Now, let me first talk about the parents. One thing parents need to understand, maybe their parents who are watching this show right now, and maybe they believe that the only way to parent a child is the way they were parented. Most of the time, there's a very huge gap between your parenting, or the way you were parented, with this current parenting, the Gen Z parenting or the 21st century parenting. So one thing you need to understand as a parent, please get to understand that gap. There's a difference. And one thing, please support your child. Please support your child. And if you're a child watching me, maybe in primary school, maybe in university, maybe in high school, maybe you're a child, but a big child, an adult child, who is 30 and above, and you feel like your parents still have something they really want you to do. Maybe they want you to do law, and you've always wanted to do DJing, or you wanted to be an artist, or being any form of art. Let me tell you something. If you feel like your parents don't support you, you need to tell them how you feel genuinely. And if you as a parent, if your child comes to you and tells you, mom and dad, I feel like this is my way to go. You know, maybe you are a doctor, mom, maybe you're a doctor, dad, maybe you're a lawyer. I honestly want to do DJing. I honestly want to do art. Please support me. And as a parent, please listen to your child. Yes, I know you want the best for your child, but you never know where their star will fall in. So please support them. Listen to your child. The only thing a child needs, parents, I'm talking to you, the only thing your child needs is support. Being listened to, being understood. Just support them. Make them feel safe for even them to open up about any other issue. Because if you don't support them, if you don't listen to them, if you don't understand them, trust me, they will not feel safe. Even if they have any other personal issue they have to share, they will not even come to you, tell you about anything. So please support your child, whichever course they want to do, whatever they want to be in life, just support them, help them where they can. Na wakianguka usiwaambie wewe unajua nilikuambia usiende hapa. No, don't use such kind of tone. Just support them, tell them it's okay to fail, just rise up, we'll try, do different things. That's the way forward to be able to support and understand. And also do talks to parents to be able for them to understand how to parent children in the 21st century. I'll believe in my number. Maybe a parent who is not understanding why
you could leave your number, yes, actually, because we're running out of time.
No problem. Okay, no problem. If you're a parent who is watching me, maybe you need to understand how you need your child needs to be supported or understood or listened to, or how to parent generally. And also you're watching me and you're a person watching me, you're an individual, you're not okay in your relationship, there's all sorts of abuse, or maybe you are the abuser, please, or the perpetrator or the victim, please, my number is 0725 029398. My number, I repeat, is 0725 029398. Call me, WhatsApp me. My social media handles on Instagram, at official Anthony Njenga official, ANTHONY NJENGA on Instagram, official Anthony Njenga on TikTok, official Anthony Njenga on Facebook, Anthony Njenga. Talk to me. I'll help you. It is okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Anthony. Audrey, let me give you less than a minute to just give us your parting shots before we close the show.
Oh, well, so I think, oh my God, I've just gone blank. But like, I believe this world should be a happy place. I believe everyone should be in pursuit of happiness. And I believe everyone should respect everyone's happiness. And we should all work together towards each and everyone's happiness, success, and everything. So, yeah, let's just be considerate to one another. Let's be more loving to one another. You know, it's better to be loving. It's better to be, you know, people compete a lot, but I think the biggest thing we should do is just love each other. And when we love each other and we grow the love, you know, God is love and love is God. So, yeah.
And that's it. I feel like that's a very good note to end it all. Love one another, be genuine. So our parting shot is sometimes we refuse to see how bad something is until it completely destroys us. Be aware, do not get to a point of distraction before you realize that it's toxic. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching us. My name is Cheryl Blessing and this has been the Power Talk Show.